glad to be back like
Balancing your mixes is kind of like this. Sometimes it's smooth sailing. Other times we're towing the line, but we're still balanced. Let's go over a few techniques of what I do to keep my mixes balanced. So here we have a Pro Tools session and we're looking at the kick and snare. In Pro Tools, when you're pulling down the input levels, they have a fader right next to the waveforms. That's what you're seeing right here. And I have it down to minus 16 dB. And just for demonstration purposes, we're going to look at the waveforms get bigger and smaller. And that's me dragging down the gain. You want to go through each individual track and drag down the gain. Typically what I like to do is I'll start with the bass. This is the driving point of the track. And then I go down to my kick and snare, and then the rest of the percussions, and then I'll add in instruments and tuck those around it, and then introduce my vocals. When we go over here to the fader, the highlighted section here, as you can see, I am sitting in the green. And I have all the rest of my tracks sitting in the green as well. That's typically where I like to start. Another very effective tool when it comes to balancing your mixes and adding in depth and creating space for every sound will be filtering. So doing your low pass and high pass filters, these are great techniques to utilize to create space in your mixes. And it also allows you to achieve great balance with a whole lot of tracks that you're working with. Another important thing to note is the source coming in, meaning the sound selection of the production and also the recording of the vocals. I have tons of videos on my page that cover how to record yourself correctly and how I utilize certain methods to create my sound selection and getting things to sound cohesive. At the end of the day, this is really the most important part to the process. If you're working with sources that aren't of good quality, you're going to have to think outside the box to get them up to par. So the main thing we need to understand is, do we have good sources that we're working with? If so, now we could get into balancing it through the input levels. After that, start introducing your filters, which will create more space for the mix. If you can manage to get all of these right, you're like 85 to 95% of the way there to achieving great mixes. Follow me for more tips.